During the last few decades, elephant populations in some parts of Africa are doing remarkably well. In southern Africa, specifically Botswana, Namibia, South Africa and Zimbabwe, the numbers are on the rise. Thanks to poaching control and the ban on the ivory trade, the elephant populations in these countries have increased considerably, from approximately tens of thousands in 1980 to 300,000 now. In order to keep up with these growth rates, elephants in southern Africa need more space.
The elephant populations of southern Africa are really a mosaic. There are some places with too many elephants and there are others that still have enough space for more elephants. An ideal solution might be if you could redistribute the elephants of southern Africa and put them in areas where there is enough space.
One of the ways to give elephants more space is to move them to parks and nature reserves that offer good living conditions for elephants, like the Mtete Wildlife Reserve in the south of Malawi. During the second part of the last century, the Mtete Wildlife Reserve lost all of its wildlife to poaching. The war in neighbouring country Mozambique made it impossible to maintain law and order. But since 2003, African Parks Network, together with the Malawian government, has put in place a professional management team. Laws are now being enforced again.
Since African Parks started here in 2003, we have recovered over 450 of handmade weapons like muzzle loaders and lots of gin traps, lots of wire snares, over hundreds of arrests. Poaching is actually far much less and far much under control.
Thanks to the financial support of different partners, a fence has been built around the park in order to facilitate the reintroduction of wildlife. Since the start of the cooperation, over 2,000 animals have already been reintroduced. Amongst them are buffalo, impala and warthog. Now it is time for the elephants to come back.
Mtete is a perfect place to bring elephants back to because it's a large area, 70,000 hectares. There were up to 400 elephants here in the 1980s, but they've all been wiped out. Now, because the park is secure, with a good perimeter fence and very well managed, it's a safe place for the elephants to come.
The elephants that will restock the Mtete Wildlife Reserve will come from Luanda National Park.
In most protected areas, the numbers, have declined. And the only one that has got, a bigger population is Luanda National Park. And that's why we are moving some, to restock Mtete Wildlife Reserve. And we're now in a process of rebuilding Mtete Wildlife Reserve through our partnership with African Parks.
Translocation of elephants requires good planning and special skills. The success of the whole project rests with the capture crew from South Africa. They are an experienced team, consisting of a veterinarian doctor and nurse, a sharpshooter and a trained pilot. The darts are loaded with an anaesthetic, which will put the animals to sleep within 10 minutes. Instant communication with the ground crew is vital.
Okay, thank you. We're waiting on the road, not too far from where the other one went out.
The elephants are selected with consideration for the social structure of these animals. Either a family of mothers and calves is captured or a single bull. The vets quickly check if the animals are breathing properly and if they're in good condition. Within 10 to 15 minutes after they are darted, the elephants are loaded onto a vehicle using cranes and slings. Although it looks dramatic, the elephant suffers no harm or injury in the process.
These guys are all passionate, they really are. Every single one of these team members is really passionate about what they do. You see they care for the animals incredibly. Although it looks rough, these guys are very, very sensitive. If there was anything that was going wrong, they'd say, wake up, and they'd wake them all up and let them go. If there was one that was missing or if there was one that was in danger, they would wake up. So far so good, yeah, nice cohesive family group, 7 animals, 2 big cows and a whole group of younger ones. So far so good, but we need to keep watching to make sure that it continues this way.
The team now has to get the family to the translocation vehicle, which is parked a few kilometers down the road. The whole idea of this operation is to be efficient and as quick as possible, as to keep to the minimum the length of time they are unconscious. The elephants are laid out on a rubber carry mat, with which they are pulled smoothly into the recovery crate. An antidote will wake the animal up in less than 5 minutes. Once awake, the elephant instinctively reverses into the large crates on the back of the truck.
That was very good. Very pleased. It's woken up and it's moved through to the transport container.